Welcome back, Mechabellum enthusiasts. You're listening to the Mechabellum Podcast, the show where we dive deep into the world of the Autobattler strategy game, Mechabellum. I'm your host, Max Mechmaster.
And I'm your co-host, Lana Lorekeeper. We have an exciting episode lined up for you today, with the latest patch notes and some interesting Reddit discussions about the game.
That's right, Lana Lorekeeper. Let's start with the big news from the recent update, version 0.7.9. One of the major changes involves the units, specifically Fortress and Vulcan.
Yes. Fortress got a new tech called Rocket Punch, where he launches his fists to attack enemies. It triggers when his HP is below 70% and 40% respectively. That sounds like a powerful addition to his arsenal.
Absolutely. It adds another layer of strategy for players using Fortress. And speaking of unit changes, Vulcan's HP was adjusted from 37,073 to 35,960. That tweak might have an impact on how players approach battles involving Vulcan.
It's always interesting to see how these unit adjustments affect the overall gameplay and meta. Now, let's move on to the significant change in matchmaking. The introduction of MMR, or matchmaking rating.
Right. The developers have implemented MMR to find more suitable opponents for players during matchmaking. Instead of solely relying on combat power, MMR will be used to pair players with similar skill levels.
I've seen some heated discussions about this on Reddit. One user posted, "MMR hasn't affected me at all. It's just a number. The game is exactly the same as it was." They seem unfazed by the change, but others have expressed concerns.
Absolutely. Some players are curious about how MMR will impact their overall experience and if it will lead to more balanced matches. It's an ongoing conversation within the community, and we'll keep an eye on it.
Shifting gears a bit, there was a tweak to the combat power system as well. Now, the CP difference between two sides will be considered more when calculating combat power after a match. This change aims to prevent situations where losses greatly outweigh gains.
That's right. The developers want to ensure a fairer matchmaking experience, especially for players with similar combat power. It's interesting to see how they're addressing player feedback and making adjustments to improve the game's competitive aspect.
Another notable change in the patch involves reporting and appeal options. Players can now add a more detailed reason when reporting another player, and those who have been auto-silenced can appeal using the new appeal button. It's a step toward better moderation and player interaction.
Absolutely. This change emphasizes the importance of maintaining a positive and respectful gaming environment. It's great to see the developers taking player feedback seriously and implementing features to enhance the overall experience.
Now, let's turn our attention to some interesting Reddit discussions. One player started a thread titled "How to Counter Stormcaller Meta." They expressed their frustration with almost every match revolving around the same composition, with Stormcallers at the center.
That's a common issue in many games, the dominance of a particular strategy or unit. In this case, players seem to be struggling to counter Stormcallers effectively. The original poster mentioned the strengths and weaknesses of Stormcallers and asked for strategies to break away from the monotony.
Some players chimed in with their thoughts and suggestions. One user pointed out that using Crawler's balls as distractions can be effective since they are harder to hit with Stormcallers. However, even that strategy can be countered with units like Arclights and Snipers, which most opponents already have.
It seems like countering Stormcallers requires a combination of units and tactics. Another player mentioned that creating your own Stormcallers can level the playing field while building a secondary win condition. But that can also lead to games where both sides have similar compositions, which can feel repetitive.
The discussions on Reddit were insightful, with players sharing their strategies and experiences. It's great to see the community engaging in healthy discussions and helping each other improve their gameplay.
Absolutely. It's through these discussions that players can discover new approaches and adapt to the evolving meta. And the original poster expressed their gratitude for the insights and mentioned applying some of the suggestions already.
That's the beauty of a thriving gaming community. Players can learn from one another, exchange ideas, and collectively enhance their gaming experience.
Indeed. Mechabellum continues to evolve with each update, and it's fascinating to see how players adapt, strategize, and tackle new challenges.
That's all for today's episode of the Mechabellum Podcast. We hope you enjoyed our deep dive into the recent patch notes and the Reddit discussions. Remember, Mechabellum is a game where creativity and strategic thinking go hand in hand.
Thanks for tuning in. Stay tuned for more exciting episodes where we explore different aspects of Mechabellum and bring you the latest updates. Until then, keep battling and have a fantastic day.